Here we are in section 3.2 exercises part A with the solutions to numbers 1 through 5. Number 1, 45 is 12 more than 3 times a number. What is the number? This is a word problem, and we see that we have data such as 45, 12, more than is a plus, bigger than, and 3 times a number. Now in math, we take a number that we're looking for, and we say, hey, that's our P or N for number. Let's use N. We could use X or whatever. So let's translate this into an equation because it's a sentence that can be done so. 45 is means equals 12 more than 3 times a number. And now we just need to solve and find out what that number is. Look at what we have there. We'll put a little smiley face there. We are now in happy math land. We have an equation that we know how to solve. Let's put it over here and solve it. 45 equals 12 plus 3 times a number. We need to get n by itself, so we subtract 12 from both sides to get rid of the 12. So we have 33 equals 3n. Now, how do we get rid of the 3? We divide by 3 onto both sides, and we have n equals 11. So our number is 11. Now, if you chose to use a different variable, such as x or p, that is what would be equal to 11. Let's check our answer. And yes, indeed, the book used x, but that's all right. We used n. X is 11. Okay, number 2. Very similar thing. Here we have 25. Less than is a subtract sign. But the subtract sign means the 25 goes on the other side. So it's a minus 25 from 7 times, which is multiplication, a number. And what is the number that we're looking for? Let's use x this time. So 7 times x, and then 25 less than that. So that's 7x minus 25 is 108. And it asks what is the number. There we have it. That's an equation. Let's put a little smiley face by that again. We know how to solve equations. This is good. Let's write it over here in a different color so we can solve it. 7x minus 25 equals 108. Add 25 to both sides and we get 7x equals, let's put plus 25 here, plus 25 here, and we get 133. Divide by 7, and we get that x equals, what is that? 133 divided by 7, let's pull up the calculator. (133) divided by 7 equals 19. So x is 19. That's our number. 25 less than 7 times a number, 19, will be 108. Let's double check that answer. X equals 19, indeed. Okay, number 3. Two numbers add to 251. So we are taking this, and 251 is what two numbers will sum up to. And the second is 41 bigger than the first. What are the two numbers? That means we've got to have two variables. Let's call them the first number x and the second number y. So that's the first and the second number. Now it says two numbers add to 251. That gives us an equation. X plus y equals 251. But we can't solve this and find out a number for either x or y because there are two variables in there. We need to know something about one of them. Let's find out what it says about these others. It says the second, that's y, is 41 bigger than, that means plus, the first, x. Well, look at that. It tells us what y is. Now we have enough information to put that in for the y. So this equation becomes that first number plus the second number, but we know that the second number, 41 plus x, and that now equals 251. That's called substitution. We took this, the information about y, and substituted it in for the y, and so now we have an equation. Let's put that happy smiley face right there. We have an equation. We know how to solve this guy. Sure, we can do that. Let's put it over here in a different color. We have x plus 41 plus x combine the two x's together and we get 2x plus 41 equals 251. Subtract 41 from both sides, and we have 2x equals 210. Divide by 2, and we get that x equals 105. Now notice it didn't just say what was one of the numbers. We got the first number, but we need the second one. So we now know that x is 105, and that says, hey, we could either subtract it from 251, or we can stick it in right there as 105, and we will now get that y is 41 plus the 105 is 146. And notice you'd get the same thing if you subtracted 105 from 251, 146. So let's double check our answer. And it's 105 and 146. Correct. Number 4. Two numbers add to 336. The first is 124 bigger than the second. What are the two numbers? Oh, it's just like number 3. Two numbers are adding up to 336, and we're looking for two numbers. That means we need two variables. Let's call them, since we have first and second, let's use an f and an s in this case. So we know that this says that these two numbers that we don't know yet, f plus s, equal 336. Well, we can't solve that. We don't know enough about it. So we turn to this second clue that f is 124 bigger than, that's a plus sign, s, the second number. That gives us enough information right there that we can stick it in for the f. We know what f is. It's 124 bigger than the second. So when we stick that in for f, we stuck that in for f plus the s equals 336. We now have, hey, look at that. We have an equation. Happy smiley face. We know how to do this one. That's 124 plus s plus s, so that's plus two s's, equals 336. Well, we can solve this guy. Subtract 124 from both sides. Subtract 124. And we have 2s equals, what is that, 212. So s is 106. Okay, so now we know what s is, but that's not sufficient. We need to find out what both numbers are. If s is 106, we can stick 106 right here. And the first number is 124 plus s, which is 106, so it's 230. So f has to be 230. Notice we could have also used that number and said, what if s was 106 over here? Well, what plus 106 equals 336? Subtract 106 from 336 and you get 230. Let's double check our answer. 106 and 230. Good. Number 5. Find the area of the shaded region. The stuff that is shaded here is a circle. Subtract out a rectangle. So if we take the entire circle like this and we subtract out a rectangle that's as big as it says it is there, then we will be left with the shaded region. So what's the formula for the area of a circle? It's pi r squared. Now we need to find the radius of this circle. It's not going to be 8 or 5, but this distance of 15 tells us something. That's the whole diameter. So if it's 15 all the way across, then it must be 7.5, half of 15 right here. So this area is going to be pi times 7.5 squared. And then we're going to be able to subtract out, well, the area of a rectangle is length times width. So we subtract out the 40. And really that's what happens, is that we're subtracting out 40 of these square centimeters here compared to all of them that we get over here, these square centimeters that are computed by that formula. Let's pull out our calculator and punch that in. We have pi times 7.5 to the second power squared minus 40 equals, and we get 136.71. 136.71. Now we're finding an area, which means that since we were in centimeters, this will be centimeters squared, or square centimeters. Let's double check our answer. 136.71 centimeters squared. It's correct. Good.